Guys, so welcome back to my channel. Excuse me. Today we're going to be doing, game theory. Yes, I know I would keep myself warm with my powers, but I don't want to waste my powers because I'm not fully aware if I could use my powers and keep them on forever. Oh wait, I said nothing. You guys heard nothing.
Looked like they exist and probably should have existed but didn't exist, and the only thing I accomplished in the process was making things more complicated. So in all the time that FNAF 6 has been percolating in the back of Scott's mind brain, I've thrown out everything that I thought I knew about this series, and I've gone back to doing what I do best. Darn it. Basic counting. 1 Freddy button, 2 Freddy buttons, 1 Foxy Toe, 2 Foxy Toes. Only this time, I was aided by knowledge of where the series was headed, as well as Scott's latest release, The Freddy Files. It's a book that many others dismissed as merely an elongated strategy guide to the games, but to me, it was invaluable at filtering down years' worth of lore into the details that Scott himself deemed as the most important to focus on. And this entire process of starting at square one has helped me to see connections I'd never made before, enabling me to create the thing I was most scared of. A timeline. A series of events that explain key breadcrumbs that Scott has left for us along the way. And the more I looked, the more it all started to make sense. And that's the plan for this video, and, spoiler alert, the next video, to create a final, definitive, lore-based theory on the insanity that is FNAF. Putting to rest the key lingering questions in the first 5 entries of this franchise, and opening the door for Scott to usher in FNAF 6. Since, at this point, we all know he's just waiting for us to solve the previous games before he releases the new one, right? Come to think of it, maybe I shouldn't finish this theory. Now, while I could sit here and rattle off hexadecimal color codes and animatronic design features to painfully hammer out the timeline inch by inch, no one cares. Trust me, I know I wrote 2 other versions of this script where I did exactly that, and both of them sucked. I was boring and confusing myself. It gets way too convoluted way too quickly when you dive into the details. But when I took a step back, I realized that the best way to understand FNAF at this point in history is to know that it's not a story about a haunted pizzeria, it's the story of a family. Meet the Aftons, a perfectly normal family of 5. Father, daughter, son, older brother, and mother. And the secrets of the Fazbear timeline are actually buried in the fates of each one of these characters. We begin with William Afton, the original purple guy, the father, the one who starts this whole timeline with a story that's all too familiar to us by this point. He starts killing kids at bear-themed pizza restaurants. It starts back in the 70s. Should have given him a big purple afro there, Scott. FNAF 2 flashes us back to these origins, showing us Purple Guy's first victim at Fredbear's Family Diner, before flashing forward to show another 5 victims of the Purple Guy in the FNAF 2 location, and potentially yet another 5 victims in the FNAF 1 location. And he would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling kids. Literally, because his victims refused to stay dead. The soul of the first child enters the puppet, who then gives life to the other children by preserving their spirits in the bodies of the other Fazbear animatronics. Give gifts, give life. We've all known this for years, and Scott even confirmed it, but we had to start somewhere since this is where the story begins. But where the story heads to next might surprise you. Sister Location. More specifically, the mini-games from Sister Location, where we meet Afton's adorable green-eyed daughter, No Name. Doesn't help that none of these characters have a name. You see, old Billy Afton isn't content with manually killing kids anymore. He's busy figuring out new ways to mass murder the youth of this nation, and he does what any good business owner ought to do, outsources it to the machines. He designs a series of fun-time animatronics with features specifically made for luring and capturing kids. We can see it on their blueprints: parental tracking, grouping, deter and misdirect, parental voice sync, and once again, he would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling kids. Or kid, in this case. His own daughter, in fact, who is so excited by the circus baby animatronic that she ignores her father's warnings to stay away from it and falls victim to the Claw. In true FNAF fashion, she done gets herself scooped, goes on to possess Circus Baby, and that causes the eye color of Baby to shift from blue to green. The tragedy results in the spin-off restaurant Circus Baby's Pizza World closing down in 1 day. The day it opens, and the fun times get stored, as the trailers say, deep below ground where memories sleep, just waiting for the day that they become rentals. 1 Afton down.